Says we're live. Looks like a better connection. Hard to say. So the situation on the live Jive archive right now is that the phone wasn't able to respond this morning. It's not holding a charge for some reason. It stopped holding a charge last night. I couldn't charge the phone overnight. It's not holding a charge now, really. And so as soon as I connected, it just started screwing up. So I'll let it run here for a second and see if it does any better this time around. Might be time to buy a new phone. I've actually got another phone, but it's one that I bought in America. It's a really nice phone. It's a Samsung 9X or whatever, X9, the Samsung Model 9, and it's got room for two SIM cards and an SD card and a really nice camera on it. But the problem is, I bought it in the U.S., so it won't work in China. They can't reboot the system. They can't do anything, from what they tell me. So regional boundaries on products in our lovely free market, right? They claim it's a free market, so it's not so free that you can buy your phone overseas and then use it here. So I've considered getting a secondhand phone in order to. Uh, that's the other thing too, is with the Chinese phones, you can't access the the app store or the place where you can get the VPNs. But I do have a US Apple account, so I was able to. I bought this phone locally. It's an older iPhone, and it seems to be the only way I can go. But I don't know if with the newer iPhones I do that. So I'm thinking of going to a secondhand market and looking at some phones in the range of maybe anywhere from 10 to 13 or possibly 12, maybe not the 13, because the iPhone 13 is what's like $1,000 plus. It seems like a lot of money to spend on a phone, but I don't know. I mean, it's like 10, 12,000 RMB or more, 14,000 RMB. And you got to wonder, is the technology that much better than it was the previous version, that it's really worth all that? I guess I'll find out. I'll go to a secondhand market this weekend, I think, or soon. Maybe not this weekend, because uh, as all things go, you often get hit with all the expenses at once. So, start of a new school year, we had to shell out what was like $15,000 right up front US for my daughter to go to school. And the first 2 weeks of school right now, what they're doing is ROTC. So they've got like legitimate Chinese army guys in there training all the, I think, junior high, like seventh graders, ninth graders, 10th graders on how to march in place and salute. And I think, wow, really, is that what I need? Is that what I need for my children? Is for them to do cadet training. But I remember when I was a kid, we did some cadet training, some ROTC. I even did some reserve training and stuff like that. And it's kind of a pain in the ass. Kids obviously don't like it usually, but due to the fact that I already had a lot of martial arts training and kung fu schools, I thought it was pretty cool. Like once you figure out the mechanics of basic martial arts, then you enjoy movement arts a lot more. You enjoy swinging the sword and standing up straight, and you can focus on your qigong. So you've got a lot of other things to do when you're young and you don't have all those fixation points figured out. Like, so in qigong, I'll talk about qigong just real briefly. Qigong is using the muscles of the body to massage the internal organs by way of the breath. And there are lots of postural alignments that you want to maintain while you're doing this, what we call breath work or internal alchemy. And so I'll tell you a few of those in the head to start off with, since we've on the 100-day magical challenge, we've been doing, if you've been keeping up, we've been doing the candle contemplation ritual. And I see that some of you have done that. One of the participants has already set up a an altar for magical work, magical operations. That's awesome. I salute you, Frater Tomas. He sent me some pictures on the messenger, and he set up with his four. Yeah, I'm not sure if I should be revealing behind the scenes information here on public television, but so to set up an altar, rather than tell you about his, I'll tell you about just setting up an altar in general. For the candle contemplation ritual, you're dialed in, man. Candle, dead center of the altar. Put an altar cloth on there. And good morning to you, Miss Mary Moon. Good to see you. And then 4 tools of the magician are the pentacle, the dagger, the chalice, and the wand. So each one represents one of the 4 Kabbalistic or Hermetic elements. So in reverse order, you've got earth, air, water, and fire. I'm, I'm, I'm good enough here. I'm gonna pull off here before I go to park, so I can chill and check the chat because I'm pretty close to the academy. And hopefully this is maintaining a charge. Are Do we have a connection, guys? Miss Mary Moon's out there in Happy Land. I see her. Welcome to the chat, Mary. Good morning. Moon is 16 degrees Scorpio, so it's about to transition. Today, for me, I guess since I'm ahead of you in time, it's transitioning into Sagittarius, I believe, at around 2 p.m. I'm not sure if that's correct or not, but it seems like that's what I remember. What did you run over? Speed bumps. They have lots of speed bumps in the city to encourage you to slow down. My daughter has an altar she made since she was 11. She did one her own way. Yeah, Virgo, huh? So your daughter's a Virgo, and we're currently in the zodiacal sign of Virgo. Oh, it's 16 degrees Scorpio right now for everyone. Okay, so how many hours till we transition into, how long does the degree last? How many hours before we transition into Sagittarius? Because I'm on Friday. It's Friday right now. 6:43 a.m. on a Friday. We're just on different time zones, so moon in different place in the sky for you. Okay, I gotcha. Um, like I said, I'm not an astrologer. I don't have all that figured out. So one of the people participating in the 100-day magical challenge recently set up a magical altar. So a magical altar is a zone in front of you, right, that you use for fixation points and for focus of your operations. The current operation we're doing is of the fire element, right? So the candle contemplation ritual, and also you can use that same altar space, any space, a desk, a table, whatever. There are constraints within various systems on how you should go about it. But I'm a natural magician. And so, like your daughter, Miss Mary Moon, I think you should set it up with your natural inclinations. But I have adopted ceremonial procedures. So I do use the classic tools of the magician according to the Brotherhood of Luxor, uh, the guise of enlightenment, the magical tools from ancient Egypt, how they've come to us over the last 6,000 years or whatever. But they're very similar in the Chinese system as well. So we have the earth element, and it's the pentacle. And I like to use the 5-pointed star, a Venusian pentacle, to represent the earth realm. I make mine out of cardboard and then paint them so they look nice. They're supposed to be made out of stone or metal, but I mean, it's that does help because the solid and heaviness of it, even magnetic stone, right? So that you can do advanced operations. But in these modern times, a crafting magician can make do with what he's got, right? Um, the whole thing is, yeah. Anyway, and so I was recently listening to Esoterica, and he did a talk with a practicing magician who has brought forward a couple of volumes on Enochian magic and the Enochian language. It's Dr. Justin Sledge over at Esoterica, and he was interviewing a guy who just wrote a book or just published a book recently, or maybe in the recent past, named Frater Aaron. And I'm not familiar with his work, and I do not practice Enochian magic, but they were talking about the Enochian Aethers and John Dee and its correlation in Hebrew mysticism and the tree of life. And so in this next grade in the 100-day magical challenge, this zealater grade, when you're really getting involved with doing magic and meditation and prayer and gathering and casting your energy, as it were, into the matrix to produce an effect from the responsive nature of the universe, then you're coming to realize, if you haven't already, that what you're doing are magical operations. So the candle contemplation ritual is a magical operation in fire, and you can use any symbology associated with that you like. uh Aries associations, zodiacals, right? So Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, and then planetary, so Mars and the sun, even Mercury with its placement in the tree of life at the Sephira of Hod, the workshop, is also commingles with fire and Gebura. September 2nd, 22. Okay, so at 22:39 UT Universal Time, add 8 hours of that zone. So the moon will be Sagittarius for you around 6 a.m. tomorrow morning on the September 3rd in Beijing time. Okay, I got you. So we're still on Scorpio. Is that what you said? Yeah, we're still in Scorpio for uh the next 24 hours. Wow, that's awesome. So I can get a lot of good magic done over the next 24 hours. Russian Lad's out in the chat. Good to see you, Russian Lad. I'm about to enter my class. Sorry, I haven't been keeping up with your joint streams. No, good deal, Russian Lad. You said that you're finishing up your last year of, what is it, a bachelor or a master's program? So that's a big deal, man. You shouldn't be participating or indulging too much in live streams while you're getting the great work done, right? I respect that. I've been through both programs. I've been through undergraduate, postgraduate, and a research program. So that all seems like so long ago now. That was like 20 years ago. So 2 decades is not that long, but it's a lifetime removed. I mean, I've been 20 years into my career now, so I have a colleague. He's like, "Why don't you an associate's degree? Good job. That's the start, man. That's where I started. 2 years of community college to get my associates, so that I had something to inspire me to move forward, right, into the bachelor programs and go to a state school and then work towards a master's. But yeah, that all seems like such a long time ago now, right? 30 years ago, I started that journey. Took me 10 plus years to get it done. Yeah, some people haven't lived that long. That's right. I'm pushing 50, man. I'm going on 50 this next couple of years, getting real close to the half a century of wandering the earth in search of magic. Yeah, you're right behind me though, man. You're probably, yeah, I think you said your early 20s, right, or mid 20s. So you're not far behind, man. It goes faster than you think. You go from mid 20 to mid 40 in the blink of an eye. And then you go from half a century to a century in another blink of an eye. Human life the span of a human life passes by like a flash in the pan. That's why it's so important to enjoy the journey, right? Every step along the way, every precious moment of life that we can interact with each other and commiserate and share knowledge. So important. So Franz Barton's Initiation to Hermetics gives most of the fundamental practices of awakening inner light, right? That's what we're working with as ceremonial magicians and even natural magicians. I realized that inner light when when I was really young, and I knew that there was more to it than just shaking your wand, running around in a robe, or even sky clad, right, under a full moon, rattling your stick, your talking stick with your shamanistic tortoise head filled with coins and beseeching the gods. I knew there was more to it. I found the middle pillar, the middle path up the tree of life, and the way of a magician. But anyway, to get back to brass tacks, if you are in the Z-liter grade now, if you're in the second trimester here of the Magical Challenge, you might pick up a copy of the Hermetic Tree of Life, right? What they call the teaching is called the Kabbalah, but the Hermetic Tree of Life is just a diagram. It's a diagram of 10 circles, and you use it as a blueprint or schemata for understanding the way energy from the Godhead manifests into the material realm. And that way you can start to alter the flow, as it were, of the lightning strike of manifestation. So you can influence it. You can use the yin yang, black and white oscillation of wisdom and knowledge and understanding at the top of the tree to alternate the course of that lightning strike early on in the early incipient stages of manifestation. And then as it comes down into the material sphere, you can once again shape it using the red and blue spheres of severity and mercy, right? And then you can harness that down into Tiferet, that center Dantian, to start expressing it in all directions and dimensions simultaneously, and then choose its manifestation either into the Netzach or Had, the oscillation of green and orange, the spheres right down there on the right in the abyss, right there at the threshold of the abyss. And then further down, as it manifests, your visualization is transpiring in the realm of Yasad, the first gateway to dreaming. And that's when it's waking up and coming into the world and really about to appear. And remember that that 10th and final sphere, that manifestation in the prime material plane, that's completion. That's bringing all of those great positive goals to fruition. And that's the way it works, man. I didn't know that when I was a kid. I just did it, right? Just do magic. But 30 years of research and the last 10 really have awakened me to the way that that numerical color linguistic schemata operates from the high to the low. Let me check up on the chat real quick. We got about 10 minutes, man, before I need to run. Have a good day in class, Russian lad. Good to see you. Yeah, they say the older you get, the faster it seems to pass, but likely because when you're younger, you have so much free time. Yeah, that's possible. I have Venus Aries stuck for my whole life and an adult child forever. Quite interesting. Russian lad says that the dissertation this morning is Mildly interesting, quite interesting, he says. Thank you, sir. Uh, do you remember when lightning hit the Vatican right when the old popery poop resigned? I know I don't remember that. I didn't hear about that. Vatican lightning hit the Vatican, huh? That may have been orchestrated, right? They may have been in there praying for lightning. Summoning lightning to strike a certain point on Earth or within your environment um, is a fairly simple operation. Did they do it, or did they know the astro transits that would happen that day? I've summoned lightning. I've had lightning strike particular targets several times. That's not a highly advanced operation for a magician. You can use the ceremonial tinients to do it, but you can also do it naturally. Kung Fu helped me manifest that. Um, that's one of the pretty early signs of magical awakening is being able to direct lightning. It's not consistent though. You can't do it every time. And some would, according to a multi-model approach, some would claim, it's random. It's a coincidence that that spot you were directing the storm towards blasted that tree with lightning or that building or whatever you were directing it at. Um, Got to go stay safe. Yeah. Have a good day, man. Good to see you. Later, sweet potato. Yeah, what a trip. You said lightning, so now I'm intrigued. Yeah, I've summoned lightning several times to strike various locations. I've seen, like I told you, the story of the giant peach, where the lightning struck the old peach tree. But I'll not get into it now because it's weather manipulation. I wouldn't even say manipulation. And I use a multi-model approach. I think of it in the way of either I'm foreseeing the future and then being attracted to that point, or I'm genuinely using my magical intention to bring about that effect, or it's coincidence, right? The modern mantra, it's all coincidence, or it built up by synchronicity, or I'm just totally delusional. All of those, all of those explanations are valid, right? Uh, the way of magic is that you settle into the fact that, like one night, for example, real quick story about it, getting real angry and drunk, and then going out into a thunderstorm and focusing my anger and aggression at a certain point at the top of a tree, and then uh, focusing and really wanting the lightning to strike that fucking tree because I'm going to cut that tree down and turn it into firewood anyway, right? And then nothing happening for a while, and then falling asleep drunk on the park bench, and then waking up the morning and seeing a big blast point right where I had just focused for like 5-10 minutes of my energy, a giant blast point, and part of the branch um cracked down, and then a huge black scorch mark all the way down to the tree to the base of the roots. And then yeah, so that's happened to me. I've done that. And again, right, was I just sensing that lightning would strike that point, or was it the fact that my anger and aggression um caused that response from the material realm? And it's up to you the way you explain it. I explain it to myself one way. You could say, hey, Frank, it's all just pure random chance. Yeah, the arcane energies. Here's another one of interest. Since I do have just a couple of minutes before I got to run, and it's good to see you, Mary. And now that I've got you here, I should savor the moment to interact with you and get responses. I was out in the Tennessee Valley one time when I was real young, and I've got dozens of stories from the Tennessee Valley about natural magic because it really happens when you're out there in like your environment right now. My mom said that Nova Scotia looks a lot like West Tennessee, and I agree with that. Where you are, Mary, it looks just like where my mom is in the countryside, and I love that rural environment. You can really pull magic down and around you. but I was playing pool with an old country fella named Bluebird, and in my mind, I was kind of making fun of his accent and his real country ways, but at the same time, I found it very charming. Like he was a super charming individual, and he spoke as country as you could come, you know. And I was never, I never had any bias or never looked down upon country folks. I really admired their rural and rustic mentality. But what's the point of this story is there was a thunderstorm brewing, and right when I looked outside, I don't know, so we'd said something or something, and I said, "Yeah, lightning will react to you." I said, "Look," and I pointed outside. Right when I pointed outside, a huge bolt of the most powerful lightning I've probably ever seen in my entire life hit like a 300-year-old oak tree right at the top, and the lightning engulfed the entire thing and blasted it so hard that it like split it down the middle and opened the top of it up, but it didn't kill the tree or even affect it in any way, really. And in my mind, I could see it illuminate like in my eye, and it left an impression on my eye, like doing the candle contemplation ritual. And I was like, I felt it shake my being too. And I thought to myself that I did that, right? Because the timing was perfect. But I thought, no, no man could wield that kind of power under heaven without God. And I thought God did that to let these guys know that I'm not an, you know, that I'm not an atheist, that I'm not an evil person, and just to wake us all up. Because there was like five of us in there playing pool and drinking beer, and everybody saw it. And I um I went out there later on, like either later that day or the next day, and it the lightning cut a like a 2.5 inch, maybe 3 inch swath out of the bark of the tree, running directly down from the top of the tree to the bottom of the tree to the root system. It cut a swath of bark out of the tree with like a maybe a 2 inch, 2.5 inch width, and like maybe an inch to 2 inch depth in that huge tree at the four cardinal directions, perfect down to the compass. I remember I thought I like it, and I knew about it in my mind too when the lightning struck. I like something showed me the entire scene from all directions, from 360 directions simultaneously, and it was if I was in multi-location. I was in the tree, I was in the bar, I was in the lightning all at one time in a split second of just thunderous explosion. And I went out there, I documented it, I wrote about it, I drew it in my journal, and I took like like a bag full of bark off the tree. I was like, this is energized, magically charged bark, and I can use it in natural magic. And it was oak wood too, you know. But I remember I ripped a bunch of the bark that was singed and burnt off of the tree from around the angles and put it into a plastic bag and stored it in my attic. And it's probably still there. I don't know if it is or not. I mean, things have changed a lot. If that was at least 27 years ago, something like that, 26, 27 years ago when that happened. So anyway, that's all the time I have for lightning stories today. I've got more of them though. Lightning definitely responds to the magician in his environment. And like I said, you can use a multi-model approach. You could say, well, Frank Monday, that's just random coincidence. You know, maybe it's a synchronicity. Maybe it was your prescience or your clairvoyance that you saw it coming. Or um, maybe you're just imaginatively delusional, right? You could use any of those. You could use any of those explanations. And Master Nihua Qing, in one of his books on mysticism, a Chinese Taoist, he said, no, he said, these things will happen. He says there are 18 distinct signs when you awaken to true magical power. And he said, you will have those random thoughts of doubt. He said, disperse with them immediately and know. He said, what is the word? How to frame it. I don't remember exactly how he worded it in his book, but basically he said, you should dispel all skepticism in connection with your magic and realize that the truth is in the mystic moment, in that moment of reality when you merge with the divine, that's what really happened, and let it confirm your path along your journey in the way that not many people undertake the vast distances of the search for the way. And for those who do, those signposts are real. And that's a part of the dynamic reality that we live in. It's the it's the responsive nature of the universe that the universe does indeed respond to you. And I thought that was a powerful message because I met with Master Nee and I lived with him as his apprentice and disciple, and I respect his opinion. I mean, that was the culminating reward of my youthful endeavors into kung fu and going beyond kung fu, always knowing and always focusing on the intention, and knowing that magic was real, and dispersing with all ceremony, take off your robe, throw away your amulet, break your wand, and engage directly in the flow of energy. And that was my rash um, youthful spirit when I was a young Piscean magician. That's right. You figured me out, Miss Mary Moon. I parked under a tree in the other school's parking lot so that Lithium Head wouldn't walk by and spy on my. Because he would sneak up if he heard me talking, like with my windows down, puffing on a JP Farrell. He would walk by and like record me or something and then show it to the manager later on and be like, yeah, Frank sits out there and smokes cigarettes in the morning and blah blah blah, and he's live streaming. Fuck him. Um, I hope he hasn't figured me out yet and watches my channel. I don't think he does. I don't think anybody other than the select few among you that watch my channel. But yeah, you figured me out, huh? You're so smart. You're so intuitive. I wanted to stay in a location where I wouldn't get caught having fun, because that the minions of the Dark Lord, they don't want you having any fun, even free fun. Like you're out there, you're producing content and doing it for free and having free fun. They hate that shit because they want you paying for an HBO Plus subscription. They want you on YouTube Premium. They want you paying for your entertainment and paying for your connection to people. They want you making long distance phone calls that cost $2 or $3 an hour. And here I could just throw up a 30-minute or a 40-minute transmission and interact with people and build community. And they hate that shit. When I started my free swing dance class, I did it for free for like 5 years. Minions of the Dark Lord would always show up and be like, hey man, we're out there charging $150 an hour and you're over here doing it for free. You're bleeding off students that aren't even paying anything, and your class is better. You're more entertaining. You're teaching more. And they're like, how are we gonna, you know, are we going to justify charging these huge prices when you're giving it away for free? And it would make them so angry. Some dude tried to hit me with a fucking bike lock, like with a giant club one time. He tried to lure me into an alley to talk about dance moves and stuff. And he had another dude hiding in the shadows, and I sensed it. And the spirits protected me. And I was like, you motherfuckers. And I got out of there. I didn't want to fight with those guys. I could have. I'm not a poor fighter, but I don't want to be hit in the back of the head with a fucking club, because I'm having a free dance class. Fuck those assholes. Anyway, sorry for that momentary diatribe into The old days of Beijing. That's why I always needed Frater Thomas at my back, man. Me and Thomas, when we were doing it together, we'd never run into that shit because you protect each other's back. You need at least two guys that are, you know, genuine fraternal, um, fraternal camaraderie among them. Really? You almost got attacked too? All right, man. I have run out of time. I'm already late for breakfast. I love y'all good looking sex people out in Happy Land, especially you, Miss Mary Moon. Take good care of yourself and your daughter and enjoy your new location. I'm with you there in spirit, and I'm bringing the lightning for anybody that fucks around with you. As above, so below. I will see you good looking sex people in the abodes of the future. Until then, do good magic.